what happens is that the introverted feeling in ENTJs, the introverted feeling is gonna fill you completely. All your psyche will be filled. It's like a flood, you know. There was a hole at the bottom of your stack and it exploded, and all your psyche is completely filled with introverted feeling, and you're gonna feel everything that you bottled up all that time, all the feelings that you didn't want to have, that you repressed, are gonna fill your psyche. And this is not good. This is not good, because normally ENTJs have a weak FI by definition. And when your FI is so strong like this, you can control it, and you have all these emotions, and you feel bad, and you feel incompetent, and you can't think, most importantly, above all, you can't think logically anymore. So when you have a decision to take in these circumstances, you can't take it. It's like a depression, or you can't think seriously, you can't think logically, you can't do anything coherently. So that would be for ENTJs. For INTJs, I've said a lot of things about ENTJs. I don't know where to begin about INTJs. I think it was with the notion of repression. Yes. So since INTJs repress extroverted sensing, as I said, it's like a scale. And if they completely, some INTJs, the typical textbook INTJ, if they completely repress extroverted sensing, they're gonna overindulge in introverted intuition. And what happens in that case is when you overuse introverted intuition is a subjective perceptive function, an intuitive function, and it's oriented towards your inner world. So it means that you see things, you perceive things, you have that power, you have this light, this introverted intuition. It's like you have a flashlight, you just put it towards something and you have the core meaning of the thing. And when you overdo that and you completely repress the actual representation, what will happen is that you will have a completely subjective perception of anything around you. For example, you take an event, a normal event, completely normal event. There is a I don't know, a birthday or something like that. It's a birthday. There are 3 people. They are eating a cake and they are singing happy birthday. That's all. It's just a simple event. You take extroverted sensing. What will say extroverted sensing? Extroverted sensing, SE, will say, oh, I see a cake. SE sees thing, but not in the way of NI. NI, I will say it later, but NI perceives things internally. It's complicated. SE just sees things as they are. It perceives things, the taste, whatever are the properties, the physical properties, not the data, that would be something else, but the physical properties that you can perceive through your 5 senses, SE perceives them. So if you take the opposite, which is NI, you completely suppress all all the perceptions, and you only have the core meaning, which is completely subjective, that you made with your own experiences. You take the cake, you put the cake in your internal system in your mind, and then you analyze it, and it's like it's. So introverted intuition would just have a subjective perception of the event. Extroverted, if you ask an extroverted sensor dominant, forget about the second, third function, whatever, just you ask the function SE, you have this, the SE function is represented by a person. You ask the SE function, what's your cognitive functioning? Just say something. And the SE will describe everything in details, everything. I see a cake, I see the candles, I see the flames on the candles, I see everything, I see things, I perceive, I have this smell, concrete things. And I doesn't want that. It's the opposite. As SE, if you ask SE about the meaning of this event, SE will just leave me alone. I don't care about that shit, And I is the complete opposite. It doesn't care about the concrete things. It just cares about its insights. Which means that it will have a completely subjective perception of the event. And an I user, if you ask an I function, what do you see? Say something. And I could say something like, this is meaningless, or this is symbolic, or I don't understand that person, or anything that, first of all, is completely subjective and is completely intuitive, which means that it's completely decorrelated of the event itself. And that's pretty much it. So an INTJ, when they overuse their introverted intuition, they're gonna have a complete detachment of the world around them. They still have extroverted thinking, which wants to act, but since it's secondary, it won't be used as much as for an ENTJ. And yeah, they're gonna have this completely subjective worldview and actually never care about what they see. For example, you tell to an INTJ, yeah, but I have this information that contradicts your framework, and the INTJ will disagree with you because they don't care about, I mean, the INTJ that completely represses the SE. Of course, in a balanced INTJ it would be different, but in the INTJ that completely represses SE, he will say that he doesn't care, because that's what it is. It's a data. It's an objective perception, and he doesn't care about it. He only cares about his own perceptions, inner perceptions. So they will be oriented towards the future. I don't know why NI is oriented towards the future, but it is. They will have these interesting plans about everything, how it should be, but they will struggle to say things as they are. They will just say things as they should be, as what they internally perceive of about the world. And yeah, INTJs, when they overuse, and I typically will be much more laid back than an INTJ who doesn't overuse. SE is I said previously ESTPs and ESFPs spend all their time running about things. Well, SE is the function in INTJs with TE that wants to do things. So the INTJs who completely repress SE are much less physical and involved in their lives than the ones who don't repress it. So this is also something to think about when you want to make the difference between INTJ and ENTJ. ENTJs almost never repress SE. It's tertiary. So you will almost never see ENTJs stagnate in their lives. They will almost always do things and rarely think about the future. They think about the future, but only when it has concrete reasons to be thought about. While INTJs, we think about it in default mode. So I've talked about the rise of the inferior in ENTJs. How it expresses in INTJs is that they completely forget about all their internal ideas about things, all their framework. They will stop thinking about the future, etc., and they will only focus on the details that they have in front of them. So that's what happens when they are very, very unhealthy, you know. So it's really rare. It's like it's supposed to be like 1% of the time, or 0.5 or something like that. They will be completely involved in the present moment. You will see them staring at a glass for no reason and forgetting about all they know about. And they will become aggressive and react very rapidly for no reason. For example, you're just gonna tell them something and they're gonna burst into rage. But as I said, it's when they're already unhealthy and they don't control it. They don't control it, because ENTJs, when they have this tertiary SE that comes into play, they can control it to some extent, you know. As I gave you in the example, I knew how to run, even though I wasn't supposed to run in the first place, but I knew how to run. If that happens for an INTJ, it wouldn't be in that case. It would be in a already unhealthy mode, and they wouldn't be in control of it. They wouldn't be in control. It would be totally sporadic, and they will, for example, if an INTJ is involved in a fight and they are already unhealthy, you know, they're not supposed to be there. They don't know how to handle that. They're gonna just give punches in all directions for no reason, just like someone that's drowning, you know. So this is tertiary, this is inferior extroverted sensing when it expresses itself in INTJs dominantly when they are in an unhealthy situation. It's completely sporadic and uncontrolled, and they don't know what to do with it. It just expresses itself, you know. So that would be the third difference between the two, or the fourth, the third or the fourth.